Let us turn to the ancient wisdom found in Scripture. For the Bible is not a record of historical events, but the greatest psychological drama ever written. It reveals the pattern by which man may consciously rise to higher levels of himself. Be still and know that I am God. These words from the 46th Psalm contain the very essence of our discussion tonight. In stillness, in quiet, in the absence of effort, you discover your true identity as God, the operant power in the universe. I have often shared the story of my own discovery of this law. It was not through outward seeking, but through an inward journey. When I found myself in Barbados, having promised my family I would be with them for Christmas, but lacking the financial means to make the journey, I did not struggle outwardly. Instead, I lay upon my bed in New York City and transported myself in imagination to my family home. I slept in my childhood bed, heard the familiar sounds of the island, felt the tropical breeze upon my skin, and embraced my family members with joy. I lived from the end, experiencing in imagination what I desired to experience in reality, and within days, without any outer effort on my part, the means to make the journey materialize. This is the meaning of building yourself quietly. It is not about outer show or the approval of others. It is not about struggle or strain or sacrifice. It is about the quiet assumption of the state of consciousness that would be yours if you already possess what you desire. Consider the words of the Master. When you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Your room is your mind. The door you shut is the silencing of your senses, and the Father in secret is your own wonderful human imagination, the creative power that brings forth all things. The open reward is the visible manifestation in your world. Tonight, I urge you to give up the belief that anything outside yourself has power over you. Give up the struggle to change outer conditions, for they are but reflections of your inner state. Instead, turn within. In the quiet of your own being, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being the person you desire to be. Feel the reality of possessing what you seek to possess. Feel the relief, the satisfaction, the joy that would be yours if your desire were already an accomplished fact. The outer world may tell you this is fantasy, that you are deceiving yourself. It may point to evidence that contradicts your assumption. But I say to you, the evidence of your senses is but the harvest of past assumptions. If you would change the harvest, you must now sow different seeds in the fertile soil of your imagination. In this quiet building of yourself, persistence is essential. You must be faithful to your assumption. If, for example, you wish to be financially secure, you must not only assume the feeling of wealth in a single meditation, but must continue in that assumption as you move through your day. When doubts arise, as they inevitably will, gently bring your attention back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is not self-deception. It is the highest form of truth. For what you are assuming is the only reality, and the outer world must reshape itself to conform to that inner conviction. Many fail in this work because they give up too soon. They assume the feeling of their wish fulfilled for a brief period, but then return to their habitual state of consciousness. Remember the parable of the fig tree. When the master cursed it, nothing appeared to happen immediately, but the tree was withered from its roots, though the evidence was not yet visible. So it is with your assumptions. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your desire begins to move toward manifestation, though the outer evidence may not be immediately apparent. Let me share with you a letter I received just last week. A gentleman who had attended these talks wrote to me saying that for years he had struggled to advance in his profession. Despite his qualifications and hard work, promotion seemed always to elude him. After hearing our discussions on the law of assumption, he began each night before sleep to experience in imagination the congratulations of his colleagues on his new position. He felt the handshakes, heard the words of praise, experienced the satisfaction of his increased salary. He did this quietly, telling no one of his inner work. Within 2 months, a position was created specifically for him, a position that had previously existed in his company at exactly the salary he had imagined. He built himself quietly, and the outer world reshaped itself to match his inner assumption. This is the pattern. First, clarify your desire. Second, construct a scene which would imply the fulfillment of that desire. Third, immerse yourself in that scene until it takes on the tones of reality. Fourth, from that state of fulfilled desire, open your eyes to the outer world. And fifth, remain faithful to your new assumption regardless of contrary evidence. This is how you build yourself quietly. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of consciousness, for this is the material with which you build. Your consciousness is the only reality. All that you perceive outside yourself is but a manifestation of states within yourself. The people, circumstances, and events of your life are drawn to you by the magnetic power of your dominant assumptions. As within, so without. This is the great law. Many of you have been taught that your consciousness is limited, that you are merely human, separate from the divine creative power. But I tell you that your own wonderful human imagination is God in action. I and my Father are one, said the Master, and this is true of every man. The creative power that you attribute to a God outside yourself is your own imagination. And the world around you is nothing more than your own consciousness made visible. When you truly grasp this, you will understand why building yourself quietly is so powerful. For if all is consciousness, then by changing your consciousness, by assuming a new state, you literally become a new being. And that new being must express itself in your world. But how do you effectively change your consciousness? Through the controlled use of imagination while in a state akin to sleep. This state is quiet, receptive state where the senses are diminished and attention is focused inward, is where all creation begins. In this state, imaginal acts have a transformative power that they lack when you are fully awake and attentive to the outer world. Let me give you a simple technique to practice. Tonight, as you lie in bed preparing for sleep, clarify in your mind what you wish to be. Perhaps you desire to be confident, healthy, wealthy, or loved. Whatever it may be, formulate a scene that would imply this state has been realized. If health is your desire, imagine a friend congratulating you on your vibrant appearance. If prosperity is your aim, feel the satisfaction of seeing a bank statement with the figures that would delight you. Then, with your eyes closed, enact this scene. See it clearly, hear the sounds that would accompany it. Feel the emotions that would be yours in the fulfilled state. Do this until the imaginal scene takes on the feeling of reality. Then, still immersed in this feeling, drift off to sleep. In this way, you are building yourself quietly, impressing upon your subconscious mind the new concept of self. The subconscious does not argue or question. It simply accepts what you present to it in feeling, and then proceeds to express that state. This is why feeling is the secret. It is not enough to intellectually affirm your desire or to visualize it without emotion. You must feel the reality of the state desired. Feeling is the prayer, and prayer is answered when the feeling is absorbed by the subconscious. As you continue this practice night after night, you will notice subtle changes in your daytime experience. Opportunities that align with your desire will begin to present themselves. People who can assist you will be drawn into your life. Circumstances will arrange themselves to facilitate the expression of your new state of being. All of this will happen without your conscious effort or planning. This is the law in action. Remember, you are not creating something new. You are simply selecting and expressing a state that already exists within the infinite variety of states that comprise your complete self. In the realm of consciousness, all possible states of being exist now. When you assume a state in imagination, you are not creating it. You are occupying it. And by occupying it, you make it your own. This understanding frees you from the anxious striving that characterizes so much of human existence. You need not worry about how your desire will be fulfilled. The law itself contains the means of fulfillment. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to persist in that assumption. The how is not your concern. Think of the acorn. Within it lies all the potential of the mighty oak. Yet the acorn does not worry about how it will become an oak. It simply rests in the soil, allowing the law of growth to operate through it. So it is with your desires. Plant them as seeds in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Water them with the feeling of reality. and they must grow into manifestation. This is law. I am often asked, but what are the desires of others? What if my desire conflicts with another's? The answer is simple. There is no competition in consciousness. What you desire for yourself, desire for others. See their fulfillment and happiness just as clearly as you see your own. In the realm of consciousness, there is infinite abundance. Your good does not come at the expense of another's, but adds to the expression of good in the world. This relates to another aspect of building yourself quietly, the importance of silence regarding your inner work. The Master advised, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. There is wisdom in this counsel. When you speak prematurely of your intentions, or share your technique with those who do not understand the law, you often dissipate the energy of your assumption. The unbelief or skepticism of others can weaken your faith if you are not yet firmly established in your new concept of self. Furthermore, the very act of talking about what you are doing shifts your attention from the feeling of the wish fulfilled to the process of achieving it. And since attention is the tool with which you impress the subconscious, this shifting can delay the manifestation of your desire. So build yourself quietly. Keep your own counsel. Let your results speak for you. When others notice the changes in your life and ask how you accomplished them, then you may share this law, but even then speak only to those who have ears to hear. Let me share with you another letter, this one from a woman who had struggled with chronic illness for over a decade. After learning of the law of assumption, she began each night to experience herself as vibrantly healthy. She felt the energy flowing through her body, imagined herself engaging in activities that had long been impossible for her, and gave thanks for her perfect health. She told no one of this practice, not even her husband. Within 3 months, her condition had improved so dramatically that her physicians were astounded. Tests that had previously confirmed her illness now showed no trace of it. She had built herself quietly, and her body conformed to her new self-concept. This is not isolated or exceptional. It is the normal operation of law. What you believe, what you truly accept as real in the depths of your being, must objectify itself in your experience. According to your faith, be it done unto you is not a religious platitude, but a statement of psychological law. Now, some of you may be thinking that this sounds too simple, that something so powerful cannot be so easily accessible. But I ask you, must a thing be difficult to be true? The operation of this law is simple, though the discipline required to apply it consistently may challenge you. The challenge lies not in the technique itself, but in your willingness to persist despite appearances. For when you begin this practice, the evidence of your senses will contradict your assumption. Everything in your outer world will proclaim that your imaginal act is but fantasy. This is the testing point. Will you be faithful to the unseen reality of your assumption, or will you bow down to the evidence of your senses? Those who succeed are those who understand that the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of inner states. Just as it takes time for the fruit to appear after a seed is planted, so there is a psychological gestation period between your assumption and its visible manifestation. During this interval, you must persist in your assumption regardless of appearances. You must live from your desired state, not for it. Living from the end means that you do not look for your desire. You look from your desire. You see the world as you would see it if your desire were already fulfilled. The shift in consciousness from seeking to possessing, from wanting to having, is the essence of effective prayer. Prayer is not begging a power outside yourself to change your circumstances. Prayer is claiming in consciousness what is already yours in potential and feeling the joy of that possession before its physical manifestation. When you pray in this manner, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are applying the highest form of creative power. This understanding transforms your approach to every aspect of life. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You no longer feel the need to manipulate others or force situations, for you know that by changing yourself within, you change your outer world without effort. Consider your relationships. If you wish to be loved, you must first assume the feeling of being loved. If you wish for recognition in your career, you must assume the feeling of being recognized. If you wish for abundance, you must assume a feeling of abundance. The outer manifestation follows the inner assumption with mathematical precision. This is why so many conventional approaches to change fail. They attempt to alter effects while leaving the cause consciousness unchanged. It is like trying to dispel darkness by fighting it with a stick. The only way to remove darkness is to introduce light. Similarly, the only way to remove an unwanted condition from your life is to introduce the opposite state in consciousness. If you are experiencing lack, do not fight against it or complain about it, for that only perpetuates the consciousness of lack. Instead, assume the feeling of abundance. If you are experiencing illness, do not focus on the symptoms, for that intensifies the state of illness. Instead, assume the feeling of perfect health. If you are experiencing conflict in a relationship, do not analyze the conflict or blame the other person, for that solidifies the state of conflict. Instead, assume the feeling of harmonious relationship. The technique is always the same. Identify the state you wish to occupy. Construct a scene that implies you already occupy. Immerse yourself in that scene until it feels real. And then, from that state, view the world. The degree of your success will be determined by the degree to which you can make your imaginal act feel natural. For imagination creates reality, but only when what you imagine is felt as real. And feeling is the result of self-persuasion. You must persuade yourself of the reality of your assumption until your whole being accepts it. This is the meaning of belief. Many fail because they try to imagine something they find impossible to believe. Start with something that does not overly challenge your sense of what is possible. As you experience success in these smaller manifestations, your faith in the law will grow, and you will be able to apply it to increasingly significant areas of your life. But whether your desire seems small or great in the eyes of the world matters not at all. The same law operates in every instance. The creative process does not know difficulty. It knows only law. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the law begins to operate to bring about the conditions needed for the objective realization of your assumption. Let me emphasize again the importance of persistence. You must not take your desires out of the invisible realm prematurely. Just as a farmer does not dig up his seeds to see if they are growing, so you must not constantly check your progress or revise your approach based on outer evidence. The seed has been planted in consciousness. Your task now is to water it with continued assumption until it breaks through into visible manifestation. One of the most common reasons for failure is the tendency to switch back and forth between the new state and the old. Each time you return to the old state, you undo some of the work accomplished in assuming the new. You must make a clean break with the old state. You must die to the old man in order to live as the new. This is the true meaning of rebirth, to cease identifying with what you were and to fully identify with what you desire to be. I am sometimes asked about the nature of desire itself. If consciousness is the only reality, and if all states already exist within consciousness, then where do our desires come from? The answer is that desire is God's word knocking at the door of your attention. When you feel a genuine desire, it is evidence that the fulfillment of that desire exists now in the invisible realm and is seeking expression through you. So do not feel guilty about your desires or judge them by conventional standards of morality. All states are inherently divine, for they are all within consciousness, which is God. The only relevant question is, what state do you wish to occupy? Once you have made your choice, the means of fulfillment will flow naturally from your assumption of the state. This is why building yourself quietly is so powerful. In the silence of your own mind, free from the judgments and opinions of others, you can select the state that represents your heart's desire and occupy it through the controlled use of your imagination. And since imagination is the creative power, what you imagine with feeling must objectify itself in your world. Let me address another question that often arises: what of effort? What of action? There is a common misconception that this teaching encourages passivity. Nothing could be further from the truth. Action is an essential part of the expression of a state. But it must be the right kind of action that flows naturally from your new state of consciousness. When you have successfully assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself compelled from within to take certain actions. These actions will not be the strained efforts of someone trying to achieve a goal. They will be the natural behaviors of someone who already has achieved it. And these inspired actions lead effortlessly to the objective realization of your desire. A man who assumes wealth thinks differently, makes decisions differently, notices opportunities that the man assuming poverty would miss. A woman who assumes health moves differently, eats differently, responds to her body differently than the woman assuming illness. The actions flow from the state, not the other way around. So yes, you will act, but your actions will be determined by the state of consciousness from which they spring. First the assumption, then the actions appropriate to that assumption, then the outer manifestation. This is the sequence of creation. Let me share one more letter, this one from a man who had been seeking a very specific home for his family. For 2 years he had searched without success for a house that met all his criteria and was within his price range. After learning of the law of assumption, he began to experience in imagination the feeling of living in his ideal home. He imagined moving through the rooms, entertaining friends in the space, watching his children play in the yard. He did this each night as he fell asleep. Within weeks, a realtor called him about a property that had just come on the market, a property that matched his specifications precisely. What's more, the asking price was slightly below what he had budgeted. Upon inquiry, he discovered that the owner was someone he had met briefly at a social gathering months before. The transaction proceeded smoothly, and he is now living in the home he had so clearly imagined. Did this man find his ideal home because of luck or coincidence? By no means. He found it because he had assumed the state of already living there, and the law operated to bring the outer circumstances into alignment with his inner assumption. He built himself quietly, and his world reshaped itself accordingly. I tell you these stories not to impress you, but to impress upon you the reliability of the law. It works for all who apply it correctly, regardless of their background, education, or circumstances. It is no respecter of persons. The only variable is your ability to assume and maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. As we draw near to the conclusion of tonight's discussion, I urge you to test this law in your own experience. Do not take my word for it. Apply the principle I have outlined and judge by results. Start with something that matters to you, but does not evoke anxiety or doubt when you contemplate its fulfillment. As you gain confidence in the process, you can apply it to more significant areas of your life. Remember always that your consciousness is the one and only reality. Every state exists now in the depths of your being. When you assume a state, you are not creating it. You are selecting it from the infinite variety of states that constitute your complete self. And by dwelling in that state, by making it real through feeling, you bring it into expression. This is the meaning of the scriptural promise. All things whatsoever ye pray and ask for, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. To believe you have received your desires, to assume the feeling of its fulfillment before its visible manifestation. This is the secret of effective prayer. Let me give you a technique to practice as you leave here tonight. Select one desire that you wish to realize. Formulate a scene which, if true, would imply the fulfillment of that desire. Perhaps it is a conversation with a friend in which they congratulate you on your good fortune. Perhaps it is the sight of a document that would confirm your achievement. Whatever it may be, make it as specific and as natural as possible. Then, tonight as you prepare for sleep, quiet your mind and body. Relax completely. Close your eyes and enact your imaginal scene. See it clearly, hear the sounds associated with it, feel the emotions that would be yours if it were actually happening. Do this until your scene takes on the feeling of reality. Then, with the feeling of fulfillment still present, drift off to sleep. Do this for several consecutive nights and watch for signs of its manifestation in your outer world. Remember that there may be a gestation period during which the seed you have planted grows beneath the surface. Do not disturb it with doubt or impatience. Water it with continued assumption until it breaks through into visible expression. In this way, you are building yourself quietly. You are using the creative power of consciousness to reshape your world from within. There is no force in the universe that can stop the manifestation of what you have planted in consciousness with feeling and faith. Let me close with these words. You are divine. You are the operant power in your world. All that you perceive outside yourself is nothing more than your consciousness objectified. Know this, apply this, live by this, and you will transform not only your own life, but the lives of all who come into contact with you. Go now in peace, but go with the awareness that you carry within you the power that creates and sustains the universe. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and use it with the certainty that what you assume must objectify itself in your experience. This is law, and the law is sure. Build yourself quietly in the sacred temple of your imagination, for there and only there can true transformation take place. And as you transform yourself within, your outer world must correspond to that transformation. This is the promise and the proof of the law of assumption. And now, I have shared with you the principle by which I live. I have given you the key that can unlock any door in the mansion of your dreams. It is up to you to take this key and use it. For although I can explain the law, only you can apply it to your life. Remember that the time to act is now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances seem more favorable, but now in the quiet of your own mind. For the kingdom of heaven is within you, and the kingdom of heaven is the realm of imagination where all creation begins. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. And the foundation is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel now the reality of what you desire. And that feeling will build a bridge of incidents that will lead inevitably to the objectification of your assumption. Go now and build yourself quietly. Go with the confidence that what you have heard tonight is not theory but law, immutable, unchangeable law. And go with the awareness that you are more than you appear to be, that your imagination is the very workshop of God, and that through its proper use you can transform your life into a living testament to the creative power of consciousness. I leave you with this thought. What would you do? Who would you be if you knew you could not fail? Answer this question not with words, but with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For in that feeling lies the seed of all creation. And the seed, once planted in the fragile soil of consciousness and watered with the feeling of reality, must grow into manifestation. This is the law, and the law is sure. Build yourself quietly and watch as the universe reshapes itself to accommodate the new you that you have created in the silence of your imagination. For what is imagined with feeling must become fact. This is not faith, it is law. And the law works with mathematical precision for all who apply it correctly. You are the operant power in your world. You are the God of your universe. Know this, apply this, that you will be as the master promised, the heir of all things, the true Son of God, co-creator with the Died One. For imagination is God in action, and through its conscious use you participate in the creative process by which all things come into being. Build yourself quietly and you build yourself surely. For the foundation of all creation is consciousness. And what you assume as true in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. This is the eternal promise, the everlasting covenant between God and man. And God and man are one, for God is your own wonderful human imagination. Consider for a moment the nature of your nightly dreams. In those vivid nocturnal experiences, do you not find yourself fully immersed in a world that feels real? Do you not interact with people, places, and objects that seem tangible and true? And yet, upon waking, you realize that it was all a creation of your own mind. The simulation I speak of is much like this dream state, only far more intricate and persistent. This simulation, this grand illusion, is sustained by your beliefs, your assumptions, and the habitual patterns of your thoughts and emotions. It is a reflection of your inner state, projected outward into what appears to be an external, objective reality. But I assure you, there is no objective reality separate from your consciousness. You are the dreamer dreaming the dream of your life. Now, you might be asking yourself, if this is true, why can't I simply wish for things to change? Why does the world seem so solid and unyielding to my desires? The answer lies in the power of your subconscious mind and the deep-seated beliefs that govern it. These beliefs act as the laws of physics within your personal simulation. They determine what you perceive as possible or impossible, probable or improbable. To exit this simulation, to break free from the limitations that bind you, you must first understand the nature of your own consciousness. You are not a powerless entity trapped in a physical body, subject to the whims of an indifferent universe. No, you are the operant power, the God force itself, expressing itself through the vehicle of your human form. The key to your liberation lies in the realization that your imagination is not a mere fantasy-making faculty, but the very substance of reality itself. What you imagine with feeling, with unwavering faith, must by necessity become your experience. This is the law that governs all creation, both within and without the simulation. To begin your journey of awakening, you must first become aware of your thoughts and the assumptions that underlie them. Pay close attention to your inner dialogue, to the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. These narratives are the building blocks of your simulated reality. As you become more aware of these thought patterns, you will start to see how they have shaped your experiences. The limitations you've accepted, the failures you've endured, the successes you've achieved, all of these are but reflections of your inner beliefs made manifest in the world of Caesar. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to change these beliefs. You are not bound by your past experiences or the seeming facts of your current situation. At any moment, you can choose to imagine a new state of being, a new self-concept, and by doing so, initiate a radical transformation of your simulated reality. The practice of revision is a powerful tool in this process of liberation. Each night as you lay your head upon your pillow, take a few moments to replay the events of your day. But instead of accepting them as fixed and unchangeable, use your God-given power of imagination to revise them. See them playing out exactly as you would have wished them to be. Did you have a confrontation with a colleague? Revise it. Imagine the interaction going smoothly with mutual understanding and respect. Did you miss an opportunity? In your imagination, seize it with confidence and grace. By engaging in this practice regularly, you begin to loosen the grip of the simulation's apparent solidity. You remind yourself that reality is fluid, responsive to your consciousness. Another powerful technique for exiting the simulation is the use of affirmations, but not in the superficial way they are often employed. When I speak of affirmations, I mean the deep, emotional acceptance of a new state of being. Instead of repeating empty words, you must feel the truth of your desired state, as if it were already a fact. For instance, if you wish to exit the simulation of lack and enter into a reality of abundance, you might affirm, I am wealthy beyond measure. But the power lies not in the words themselves, but in the feeling they evoke. As you state this affirmation, you must feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with true wealth. You must walk, talk, and behave as the wealthy person you claim to be. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is the active, conscious direction of your creative power. By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are literally reprogramming the parameters of your personal simulation. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of this simulation and how it relates to time. In your current state of consciousness, you experience time as a linear progression, past, present, future. But I tell you, this too is part of the illusion. All moments, what you call past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in the eternal now. Your power to exit the simulation lies in your ability to select at will the version of reality you wish to experience from this infinite field of possibilities. When you change your concept of self, when you assume a new state of consciousness, you are not creating something new. Rather, you are tuning into an already existing version of reality where your desire is fulfilled. Think of it like a radio. Just as all radio frequencies exist simultaneously in the air around you. All possible versions of reality exist in the field of consciousness. Your task is to tune your consciousness to the frequency, the state that corresponds to your desired experience. This understanding liberates you from the tyranny of time and circumstance. No longer are you bound by what has been or what seems to be. You are free to select any reality you choose simply by aligning your consciousness with it through the power of feeling and imagination. But remember, the exit from the simulation is not a destination, it is a continuous process of awakening and self-realization. As you begin to exercise your creative power, as you start to see the direct correlation between your inner states and your outer experiences, you will inevitably encounter resistance. This resistance often manifests as doubt, fear, or the seeming inertia of your current circumstances. The simulation, having been maintained by your habitual thoughts and beliefs for so long, may seem to push back against your efforts to change it. This is perfectly natural and to be expected. The key is to persist in your new assumption, regardless of the evidence of your senses. Remember, the physical world you perceive is not the cause, it is the effect. It is the shadow cast by your consciousness. As you hold steady to your new concept of self, as you remain faithful to your imaginal act, the outer world must, by the very laws that govern the simulation, conform to your inner vision. This persistence in the face of contrary evidence is what I call the art of assuming. It is the confident, unwavering knowing that what you have imagined and felt as real in your consciousness must by necessity materialize in your experience. It is the understanding that the time lag between your imaginal act and its physical manifestation is itself part of the simulation's illusion. As you practice this art of assuming, you will begin to experience what I call signs following. These are synchronicities, seeming coincidences, and bridge of incidents that confirm your imaginal act is taking root in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Welcome these signs, but do not become overly attached to them. They are not the fulfillment of your desire, but rather indicators that you are successfully reprogramming your simulation. Another powerful tool in exiting the simulation is the use of what I call the state akin to sleep. This is a state of consciousness between waking and sleeping, where the rational, analytical mind is quieted, and the subconscious becomes more receptive to suggestion. In this twilight state, impress upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. See yourself as you would be in the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the emotions you would feel. Engage all your senses in this imaginal act. The more vivid and real you can make this experience in your imagination, the more powerfully it will take root in your subconscious and thus in your simulated reality. Now let us address a common misconception about exiting the simulation. Many believe that to break free from the illusion, they must somehow escape the physical world or transcend their human experience. This is not the case. The exit I speak of is not a physical departure, but a shift in consciousness. To exit the simulation is to awaken to your true nature as the creator of your reality. It is to move from a state of unconscious reaction to one of conscious creation. You do not leave the world, you transform it by transforming your conception of it and yourself. As you embark on this journey of awakening, you may find that certain aspects of your life begin to change dramatically. Relationships may shift. Opportunities may arise seemingly out of nowhere. And circumstances that once seemed immovable may suddenly become fluid. This is the natural result of your expanding consciousness. However, it's important to remember that the goal is not to manipulate specific events or control others. The true power lies in controlling your own state of consciousness. As you elevate your self-concept, as you align yourself with higher states of being, your entire world will naturally reconfigure itself to match your new vibration. This process of exiting the simulation also involves a fundamental shift in your understanding of identity. In the simulated reality, you may have identified yourself primarily with your physical body, your personal history, your social roles, or your possessions. But as you awaken, you begin to recognize that your true identity is far more expansive. You are, in essence, pure consciousness, the awareness that underlies all experiences. This consciousness is not limited to your individual persona. It is the very substance of the universe itself. As you align with this truth, you begin to experience a profound sense of unity with all of life. This realization doesn't negate your individual expression, but rather enhances it. You begin to see your human experience as a unique and precious vehicle through which the infinite expresses itself in form. This understanding naturally leads to a greater sense of love, compassion, and reverence for all of creation. As you continue to practice these principles, as you persistently assume the states of consciousness that align with your desires, you will find that the simulation becomes increasingly responsive to your thoughts and feelings. What once seemed like immutable laws of reality begin to bend and flex according to your assumptions. But with this growing power comes a deepening sense of responsibility. As you recognize your role as the creator of your experience, you also realize the importance of disciplining your mind and cultivating thoughts and emotions that serve your highest good and the good of all. This is not about imposing rigid control over your thoughts, but rather about cultivating a loving awareness of your inner world. It's about choosing moment by moment to align with states of consciousness that uplift and inspire you. One powerful practice in this regard is the cultivation of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a positive emotion. It is a high vibrational state that aligns you with the abundance and beauty inherent in the universe. By focusing on what you appreciate in your life, by feeling genuinely thankful for what you have and what is coming, you magnetize more experiences that evoke this feeling. Remember, in the simulation of your reality, what you focus on expands. By consistently directing your attention towards what you love, what brings you joy, and what you wish to experience more of, you naturally begin to shift the parameters of your simulation towards these positive states. Another crucial aspect of exiting the simulation is the release of victimhood. In the illusory world, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that you are at the mercy of external forces, be they other people, circumstances, or some notion of fate or luck. But as you awaken to your true nature as the operant power in your life, you must relinquish this disempowering perspective. This doesn't mean denying the challenges or difficulties you may face. Rather, it means approaching them from a place of empowerment, knowing that within you lies the power to transform any situation through the alchemy of your consciousness. When confronted with seeming obstacles or setbacks, instead of reacting with frustration or despair, pause and ask yourself, how would I respond to this situation if I truly believed in my power to shape reality? What assumption, what state of consciousness would transform this challenge into an opportunity? By consistently approaching life from this empowered perspective, you gradually reprogram your subconscious mind. The simulation of victimhood dissolves, replaced by a new reality in which you are the conscious author of your life story. As you progress on this path of awakening, you may find that your desires themselves begin to evolve. What once seemed critically important may lose its allure, while new, more expansive visions take root in your imagination. This is a natural part of the process. As your consciousness expands, as you align more closely with your true nature, your desires are naturally refined and elevate. You may find yourself less concerned with acquiring things or achieving specific outcomes, and more interested in states of being, peace, joy, love, creative expression. This shift is a sign of your growing spiritual maturity, your movement towards a more authentic and fulfilling life. However, this doesn't mean that material desires or worldly achievements become unimportant. Remember, the physical world is not separate from spirit. It is spirit made visible. Your ability to manifest your desires in the tangible world is a reflection of your alignment with your creative power. The key is to desire from a place of fullness rather than lack, to create as an expression of your abundant nature rather than from a sense of need or insufficiency. As you continue to apply these principles, as you persistently work to exit the simulation of limitation and lack, you will inevitably experience moments of doubt. There will be times when the old patterns reassert themselves, when the simulation seems particularly convincing in its solidity and resistance to change. In these moments, it's crucial to remember that doubt itself is part of the simulation. It is a thought pattern, a state of consciousness that you can choose to step out of. When doubt arises, recognize it for what it is, a habitual response of the old self-concept, and gently but firmly redirect your attention to the truth of your being. Remind yourself, I am the operant power in my life. My consciousness creates my reality. This doubt is not the truth. It is merely a passing state that I can choose to release. Then consciously realign yourself with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, with the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire. This practice of self-awareness and conscious choice is at the heart of exiting the simulation. It is the continuous moment-by-moment work of awakening. Each time you catch yourself falling into old patterns and choose instead to align with your higher self, you weaken the grip of the simulation and strengthen your connection to your true creative power. As you progress on this journey, you may find that your perception of the world around you begins to shift in profound ways. The solid, fixed reality you once perceived gives way to a more fluid, responsive universe. You start to see the interconnectedness of all things, the underlying unity beneath the apparent diversity of forms. This shift in perception is not mere philosophical understanding. It is a lived experience. You begin to feel in every fiber of your being that you are not separate from the world around you, but an integral part of it. The boundaries between self and other, between inner and outer, begin to blur. In this state of expanded awareness, manifestation becomes less about making things happen through force of will, and more about aligning with the natural flow of creation. You begin to sense the perfect timing of the universe, the intricate web of connections that brings your desires to fruition in ways often wonderful than you could have imagined. This doesn't mean you become passive or fatalistic. Rather, you learn to combine focused intention with a deep trust in the wisdom of the universe. You set your intentions clearly, you imagine and feel them as real, and then you release them, allowing the infinite intelligence of life to bring them about in the most harmonious way. As you deepen in this practice, you may find that your very concept of desire and fulfillment evolves. The exit from the simulation is not about getting everything you think you want. It's about aligning with your true nature, with the deepest longings of your soul. You may discover that what you truly desire is not the acquisition of things or the achievement of specific outcomes, but rather the full, free expression of your unique essence. You may find that your greatest joy comes not from having or doing, but from allowing the infinite to express itself through you in its own unique way. This shift in perspective brings with it a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. You no longer feel driven by lack or fear, constantly striving to become something other than what you are. Instead, you rest in the knowledge of your inherent completeness, allowing your life to unfold as a joyous expression of your true nature. But make no mistake, this state of being is not one of passive contentment. It is incredibly dynamic and creative. From this place of alignment with your true self, you naturally become a powerful force for positive change in the world. Your very presence becomes a catalyst for awakening in others. As you walk through the world in this awakened state, you will find that people are naturally drawn to you. They may not understand why, but they sense the authenticity and power of your being. Your relationships become more genuine and fulfilling, as you no longer approach others from a place of need or expectation, but from a place of fullness and love. In this awakened state, you become a master of your own reality. The simulation that once seemed to control you becomes a playground for your creative expression. You understand that every experience, every interaction, every moment is an opportunity to choose anew, to align with higher states of consciousness, and to bring more light and love into the world. As you continue to practice these principles, you'll find that the exit from the simulation is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of expansion and deepening. Each day brings new opportunities to release limiting beliefs, to imagine greater possibilities, and to embody more fully the truth of your divine nature. Embrace these opportunities with joy and curiosity, knowing that each step forward on this path brings you closer to the full realization of your potential. Remember, dear friends, that you are not alone on this journey. As you awaken, as you step out of the simulation of separation and limitation, you become increasingly aware of the interconnected web of consciousness that unites all beings. You begin to sense the support and guidance available to you from both seen and unseen realms. Trust in this support. Open yourself to receive it, and allow it to uplift and inspire you as you continue to expand and evolve. In conclusion, know that the power to exit the simulation has always been within you. It is your birthright as a divine created being. By consistently aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the truth of your being, by persistently imagining and embodying the reality you wish to experience, you dissolve the illusion of limitation and step into the boundless freedom that is your true nature. Go forth with confidence, with love, and with the unshakable knowing that you are the author of your reality, the creator of your world. The simulation has no power over you except that which you grant it. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and watch in awe your world transforms before your very eyes. Consider for a moment the nature of time. We often perceive it as linear past, present, future. But I tell you now, this is the greatest illusion. Time exists only in the eternal now. And it is in the now that you have the power to shape your reality. Your past, with all its joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures, exists only in your imagination. It has no power over you except that which you give it. The memories you replay, the emotions you relive, these are not fixed realities, but states of consciousness you choose to occupy. To truly move on and let go of your past, you must first understand that you are not a victim of your history, but the creator of your now. Every moment is a fresh opportunity to choose anew, to reimagine yourself and your world. The key to leaving your past in the past lies in your wonderful human imagination. It is not about forgetting or denying what has been, but about reinterpreting it in a way that serves your highest good. Imagine, if you will, your past as a grand play. You have been both the playwright and the lead actor. But now you realize you can rewrite the script. You can assign new meanings to old events, extract wisdom from challenges, and release yourself from the grip of outdated narratives. This process of revision is not about changing the facts of what occurred, but about changing your perception of those events. As you do this, you'll find that your present reality begins to shift. For your outer world is but a reflection of your inner states of consciousness. To move on is not to run from your past, but to stand firmly in your power as the operant power in your life. It is to declare, I am not bound by what was. I am free to create what will be. Let go of the need to justify your past actions or to seek closure from others. True closure comes from within. It comes from the realization that you are complete and whole in this moment, regardless of what came before. As you embark on this journey of letting go, you may encounter resistance. All thought patterns and emotional habits may try to pull you back. But remember, these two are just states of consciousness. You have the power to step out of them at any moment. Treat these old states as you would an old garment that no longer fits. Observe them with detachment, thank them for the role they played, and then gently set them aside. You are not rejecting your past. You are simply choosing not to carry it with you in your life. The practice of letting go is not a one-time event, but a continuous choice. Each day, each moment, you have the opportunity to release what no longer serves you and to embrace the infinite possibilities of the now. As you do this, you'll find that your energy shifts, the weight of the past lifts, and you become more fully present in the now. This presence is the key to creating the life you desire. For in this now moment, you have access to all the power of creation. You are one with the divine creative force that shapes universes. As you align with this power, you'll find that moving forward becomes effortless. But remember, movement is not always physical. True movement happens in consciousness. You can be in the same physical space, surrounded by the same people, and yet be in an entirely new state of being. This is the essence of leaving your past in the past. It's not about changing your external circumstances, but about changing your inner world. As you do this, you'll find that your outer world naturally begins to reflect your new state of consciousness. Imagine for a moment that your desired state, one of freedom, joy, and limitless potential, is a frequency. To tune into this frequency, you must first release your attachment to lower frequencies of past regrets, resentments, and limitations. This release is not about suppression or denial. It's about transcendence. It's about rising above the old stories and limiting beliefs to embrace a higher truth about yourself and your life. As you practice this, you may find that memories of past events lose their emotional charge. They become neutral data, experiences that have contributed to your growth but no longer define you or limit your potential. This is the true meaning of forgiveness, not a pardoning of perceived wrongs, but a complete release of the past. It's a recognition that in the eternal now, there is nothing to forgive. There is only the choice of which state of consciousness to occupy. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what about the lessons of the past? Aren't they valuable? Indeed, they are. But I tell you this, the lesson is never in the event itself, but in the meaning you assign to it. As you shift your consciousness, you'll find that you can extract the wisdom from past experiences without remaining attached to the events themselves. This is the alchemy of consciousness, turning the lead of past difficulties into the gold of present wisdom. Remember, your aim is not to erase your past, but to transform your relationship with it, to see it not as a determinant of your future, but as the rich soil from which your new life can grow. As you practice leaving your past in the past, you may notice that your perception of time itself begins to shift. The past, present, future collapse into the eternal now, and in this now all things are possible. In this state of heightened awareness, you'll find that you no longer need to push against your past or struggle to move forward. Movement happens naturally as you align yourself with the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desires. Imagine that your life is a grand tapestry. Up until now, you've been focused on a few threads, the events and circumstances of your past. But as you step back, you begin to see the larger pattern. You realize that every thread, every experience has contributed to the beautiful whole. From this perspective, there is nothing to regret, nothing to fear, nothing to overcome. There is only the recognition of the perfection of the entire tapestry and the excitement of weaving new patterns into it. This shift in perspective is the key to true freedom. It's the realization that you are not bound by your past, but liberated by your ability to choose your focus in each moment. As you embrace this truth, you'll find that the energy once spent on reliving past events or worrying about future outcomes is now available for creating your desired reality in the present moment. This creative energy is the essence of life itself. It's the force that brings worlds into being, and it flows through you in every moment. As you release your attachment to the past, you open yourself fully to this creative flow. Imagine this energy as a river. In the past, it may have been dammed up by old beliefs, regrets, and resentments. But as you let go, the dam breaks and the full force of your creative power is released. This release may feel overwhelming at first. You may feel vulnerable, exposed. But I tell you this vulnerability is your greatest strength. It's the open door through which your new life enters. As you stand in this place of openness, of infinite potential, you may find yourself asking, who am I without my past? Without my old stories and identities? This, my dear friends, is the most exciting question of all. For in this moment of questioning, you stand at the threshold of infinite possibilities. You are free to choose anew, to define yourself not by what was, but by what you choose to be now. This is the essence of leaving your past in the past. It's not about reaching a destination, but about embracing a new way of being. It's about living from the state of the wish fulfilled rather than from the memory of what has been. As you practice this, you may find that your entire perception of reality begins to shift. What once seemed solid and unchangeable now appears fluid and responsive to your consciousness. You begin to see that every person, every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your state of being. As you change your state, your world changes with you. This realization brings with it a profound sense of responsibility. For if your world is a reflection of your consciousness, then the key to changing your world lies in changing yourself. But this responsibility is not a burden. It's the key to your freedom. For if you have the power to create your reality through your consciousness, then you are truly free to create any reality you desire. As you embrace this freedom, you may find that your desire to change or fix the past naturally falls away. For in the light of your new understanding, you see that there is nothing to fix, nothing to change. There is only the eternal now and the choice of which state to occupy. This doesn't mean that you forget your past or deny its influence. Rather, you choose to see it through new eyes. You see it as the perfect unfolding that has led you to this moment of awakening. From this perspective, every experience, every challenge, every perceived failure was a stepping stone, leading you to this realization of your true power. As you embrace this truth, you'll find that gratitude naturally arises. Gratitude not just for the good times, but for every experience that has shaped you. For you now see that it has all been in service of your awakening. This gratitude is a powerful force. It aligns you with the frequency of abundance and opens you to receive more of life's blessings. As you cultivate this attitude of gratitude, you'll find that your attachment to past grievances naturally dissolves. Remember, the goal is not to achieve a perfect state where you never think of the past. The goal is to reach a state where thoughts of the past no longer have the power to pull you out of your chosen state of consciousness. As you practice this, you may find that memories of the past begin to lose their emotional charge. They become like scenes from a movie. You can observe them without being drawn into them. This detachment is not cold or unfeeling. Rather, it's a higher form of engagement with life. It's the ability to be fully present with whatever arises without being consumed by it. As you master this art of conscious detachment, you'll find that you're able to engage more fully with life. For when you're no longer weighed down by the past, you're free to give your full attention and energy to the present moment. This presence is the key to creating the life you desire. For it's only in the present moment that you have the power to choose to create, to become. As you deepen into this practice, you may find that your sense of identity begins to shift. You no longer define yourself by your past experiences or accomplishments. Instead, you recognize yourself as the awareness in which all experiences arise. This shift in identity is profound. It's the realization that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your experiences. You are the consciousness that observes and experiences all of these. From this place of expanded awareness, you're able to choose consciously which thoughts to entertain, which emotions to cultivate, which states of being to occupy. This is the true meaning of free will. It's not the ability to control external circumstances, but the power to choose your internal state, regardless of circumstances. As you exercise this power, you'll find that your external world begins to shift to match your internal state. This is the law of assumption in action. What you assume to be true in your inner world becomes manifested in your outer world. But remember, this manifestation is not always instant or linear. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your new assumptions take time to fully manifest in your reality. During this period of gestation, it's crucial to maintain your faith. Faith not in an external power, but in the truth of your own divine nature. Faith in the principle that your consciousness creates your reality. This faith is not blind belief. It's a knowing that comes from your own experience of the law in action. As you practice living from your desired state, you'll accumulate evidence of its effectiveness. Each small manifestation becomes a stepping stone to greater ones. Each synchronicity, each coincidence that aligns with your desires strengthens your faith and amplifies your creative power. As your faith grows, you'll find that letting go of the past becomes effortless. For why would you cling to old limiting stories when you're actively creating a new empowering reality? This is the beauty of living in the state of the wish fulfilled. When you're fully immersed in the consciousness of your desire achieved, there's no room for doubt, regret, or attachment to past limitations. In this state, you naturally release anything that doesn't align with your new self-concept. Old habits, relationships, and circumstances that no longer serve you will fall away effortlessly. This release is not about rejecting or fighting against what was. It's about aligning so completely with your new state that anything not in harmony with it naturally drops away. As you practice this, you may find that your entire approach to life shifts. Instead of trying to make things happen, you allow them to unfold naturally from your state of being. This is the difference between forcing and allowing, between struggle and ease. When you're aligned with your desired state, life flows effortlessly. Opportunities appear, doors open, and synchronicities abound. But remember, this ease doesn't mean inaction. It means inspired action, action that flows naturally from your state of being rather than from a place of lack or struggle. As you align more fully with your desired state, you may find that your goals themselves begin to shift. What once seemed important may fall away, replaced by deeper, more meaningful aspirations. This too is part of the process of leaving your past in the past. As you release old identity and the limitations, you open yourself to new possibilities, new ways of being, one contributing to the world. You may discover passions and talents you never knew you had. You may feel called to pursue paths you never considered before. This is the natural result of aligning with your true self, free from the constraints of past conditioning. As you embrace these new aspects of yourself, you may feel a sense of rebirth, of starting anew. And in a very real sense, you are. For each moment is an opportunity for rebirth, for choosing again who you want to be. This constant renewal is the essence of living in the eternal now. It's to recognize that your past does not determine your future unless you choose to carry it with you. So I invite you now to make a bold declaration. Declare to yourself and to the universe, I am free. I am not bound by my past. I choose in this moment who I am and who I will become. Feel the power of this declaration. Let it resonate in every cell of your being. For in this declaration, you are claiming your divine birthright as a creator of your reality. As you embark on this journey of leaving your past in the past, remember that you are not alone. The entire universe conspires to support you in your growth and evolution. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you encounter, is an opportunity to practice this new way of being, to choose again your state of consciousness, to reaffirm your commitment to living from the state of the wish fulfilled. And as you persist in this practice, you'll find that what once seemed difficult becomes effortless. What once triggered you no longer has any power over you. You become the master of your own consciousness, and therefore the master of your own destiny. This mastery is your true inheritance. It's the power that has been within you all along, waiting to be recognized and claimed. So claim it now. Step fully into your power as the creator of your reality. Let go of the past, not through force or struggle, but through the gentle yet powerful shift of your attention to the reality you choose to create. Remember, the past has no power over you except that which you give it. In each moment, you have the power to choose anew, to focus your attention on what you want to create rather than what has been. As you practice this, you may find that your entire perception of time shifts. Past, present, and future collapse into eternal now. And in this now, all things are possible. From this expanded perspective, you see that your past was never a limitation, but a preparation. Every experience, every challenge, every perceived failure was leading you to this moment of awakening. And now that you've awakened to your true power, what will you create? What reality will you choose to occupy? The choice is yours, and the power to manifest it lies within you. So go forth with confidence, with faith, with the unshakable knowing that you are the author of your own story. Write a new chapter unburdened by the past, filled with the infinite possibilities of the eternal now. For in this now you are free. In this now you are powerful. In this now you are the creator of your own magnificent reality. Embrace this truth. Live from it. And watch as your world transforms to match the grandeur of your own divine imagination.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that the power to transform your mind and consequently your life lies within you. It has always been there, waiting to be awakened and harnessed. Let us begin by understanding what it means to be mentally strong. It is not merely the absence of weakness or the ability to endure hardship. No, mental strength is far more profound. It is the capacity to shape your reality through the power of your imagination and belief. It is the unwavering faith in the law that states, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. You see, my dear friends, the world you experience is nothing more than an outward projection of your inner state. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create the fabric of your reality. Therefore, to become mentally strong is to gain mastery over your inner world, to cultivate a mind that is aligned with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Now you might be wondering, how do I achieve this mental strength? The answer, I assure you, is simpler than you might think. Yet it requires dedication and practice. The first step is to recognize the immense power of your imagination. Your imagination is not some frivolous faculty meant for idle daydreaming. It is the very workshop where you forge your destiny. Neville Goddard once said, man's imagination is God's redemptive power in man. This statement encapsulates a profound truth that your imagination is the key to transforming your life. When you learn to use your imagination deliberately and consistently, you tap into a power that can move mountains, part seas, and reshape your entire existence. But how does one use imagination effectively? The secret lies in what I call living in the end. This means that you must imagine and feel the reality of your desire as if it were already accomplished. You must step into the state of the wish fulfilled, embodying the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of the person who has already achieved what you desire. Let me give you an example. Suppose you wish to become more confident and assertive. Instead of focusing on your current state of timidity or self-doubt, you would imagine yourself as the confident and assertive person you wish to be. You would feel the satisfaction, the peace, and the certainty that comes with being that person. You would walk, talk, and carry yourself as if you were already the embodiment of confidence and assertiveness. This practice of living in the end is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. It is a profound psychological and spiritual exercise that aligns your entire being with your desired state. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to your inner vision. This is the law of assumption at work. What you assume to be true becomes true in your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I imagine something that seems so far from my current reality? This is where mental strength truly comes into play. It requires discipline and persistence to hold on to your vision in the face of contrary evidence. It demands that you trust in the unseen reality of your imagination more than the apparent facts of your physical senses. Remember, my friends, that what you see in the world around you is nothing more than the outpicturing of past thoughts and beliefs. It is the harvest of seeds planted in the past. But at this very moment, you have the power to plant new seeds, to imagine a new reality to being. This is the essence of mental strength. The ability to hold steadfast to your vision, regardless of present circumstances. Let us delve deeper into this concept. The world you see is Maya, illusion. It is a shadow play, a reflection of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that to change your world, you need only change your consciousness. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desires. If you have experienced failure or disappointment, instead of dwelling on these experiences and reinforcing them in your consciousness, you can revise them. Imagine how you would have preferred the situation to unfold. Feel the joy and satisfaction of this revised scenario as if it had actually happened. This practice of revision is not about denying reality or living in fantasy. It is about understanding the fluid nature of time and memory and using this understanding to your advantage. By revising the past in your imagination, you alter the trajectory of your future. You plant new seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, seeds that will inevitably sprout and bear fruit in your experience. As you engage in these practices, living in the end and revision, you will begin to notice a shift in your mental state. You will find yourself becoming more resilient, more optimistic, more certain of your power to shape your reality. This is mental strength in action. It is the ability to maintain a positive and purposeful state of mind, regardless of external circumstances. But let me be clear, my dear friends. Mental strength is not about forcing things to happen through sheer willpower. It is not about struggling against the current of life. Rather, it is about aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. It is about understanding and applying the laws that govern the universe. One of these fundamental laws is the law of assumption. This law states that whatever you assume to be true will be manifested in your reality. Your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, shape your world. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must become aware of your assumptions and learn to consciously choose those that serve your highest good. For instance, if you assume that life is a struggle and that success is hard to come by, you will experience a reality that confirms these assumptions. On the other hand, if you assume that life is abundant and that success comes easily to you, your experience will reflect these beliefs. The key is to become aware of your assumptions and to deliberately choose those that align with your desires. This process of becoming aware of it, changing your assumptions, requires mental discipline. It demands that you become the watchman at the gate of your mind, carefully monitoring the thoughts and beliefs you allow to take root in your consciousness. This vigilance is a hallmark of mental strength. Now, you might be wondering, how do I change deeply ingrained assumptions and beliefs? The answer lies in the practice of what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that while feelings follow thoughts, thoughts also follow feelings. In other words, by deliberately inducing the feeling state associated with your desire. You can evoke thoughts and assumptions that align with that state. Let me explain this further. Suppose you want to cultivate an assumption of abundance. Instead of trying to force yourself to think abundant thoughts, you would induce the feeling of abundance. You would imagine what it feels like to be abundantly supplied in all areas of your life. As you persist in this feeling, you will find that thoughts of lack and scarcity naturally fall away, replaced by thoughts and assumptions of abundance. This practice of inducing feeling states is a powerful tool for mental strength. It allows you to bypass the resistance of your rational mind and directly influence your subconscious, where your deepest beliefs and assumptions reside. As you master this technique, you will find yourself becoming more adept at shaping your mental state at will. But remember, my friends, mental strength is not about suppressing or denying negative emotions. It is about understanding the transient nature of all emotional states and learning to navigate them skillfully. When challenging emotions arise, acknowledge them, but do not identify with them. See them as passing clouds in the vast sky of your consciousness. This ability to observe your emotions without being consumed by them is a crucial aspect of mental strength. It allows you to maintain your chosen state of consciousness even in the face of adversity. It enables you to respond to life's challenges from a place of clarity and purpose rather than reacting from a place of fear or anger. As you cultivate this observational stance, you will begin to notice the gap between stimulus and response. In this gap lies your power to choose your reaction. This is where true freedom resides. As you become more aware of this gap, you will find yourself becoming less reactive and more responsive to life's events. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of your self-talk. The conversations you have with yourself shape your reality in profound ways. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must become acutely aware of your inner dialogue and learn to direct it consciously. Many people unconsciously engage in negative self-talk, constantly criticizing themselves and reinforcing limiting beliefs. This negative self-talk is like a poison that corrupts your mental and emotional state. To counteract this, you must learn to speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement. But it's not enough to simply replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. You must go deeper. You must speak to yourself from the perspective of your ideal self, the version of you that has already achieved what you desire. This is not about deceiving yourself, but about aligning your inner dialogue with your highest vision for yourself. For instance, instead of saying, "I hope I can become more confident," you would say, "I am confident and self-assured in all situations." Instead of saying, "I'll try to be more successful," you would say, "I am successful in all my endeavors." This shift in language might seem subtle, but its effects are profound. It aligns your conscious mind with your subconscious, creating a powerful synergy that propels you towards your goals. Remember, my dear friends, the words you speak to yourself are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Choose these words carefully, for they will grow and bear fruit in your experience. This conscious use of language is a hallmark of mental strength. Now let us delve into another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of focus. Your ability to direct and sustain your attention is a key determinant of your mental state and, consequently, your life experience. In a world filled with distractions, the capacity to focus your mind is more valuable than ever. But what should you focus on? The answer is simple yet profound. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. This might seem obvious, but many people spend their mental energy dwelling on their problems, fears, and limitations. They focus on what's wrong in their lives rather than on what they wish to create. Remember, my friends, energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you consistently focus on will expand in your experience. Therefore, to become mentally strong, you must train your mind to dwell on your desired outcomes, on the life you wish to create, on the person you aspire to be. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or challenges when they arise. It means approaching them from a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of fixating on the problem, focus your attention on finding a solution. Ask yourself empowering questions like, how can I turn this situation to my advantage? Or what opportunity for growth does this challenge present? As you cultivate this habit of focused attention, you will find your mental strength growing. You will become less reactive to external circumstances and more proactive in shaping your reality. You will develop a sense of inner calm and certainty that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and poise. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of persistence. The ability to persist in your chosen course of action despite obstacles and setbacks is a hallmark of a strong mind. It is easy to maintain a positive mental state when things are going well. The true test of mental strength comes when you face adversity. Persistence doesn't mean stubbornly pushing against immovable obstacles. It means maintaining your faith in your vision even when the external evidence seems to contradict it. It means holding fast to your assumption of success even when temporary failures occur. It means continuing to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire, even when your current circumstances seem far removed from your goal. Remember, my dear friends, that manifestation is not always instantaneous. There's often a time lag between the conception of a desire in your imagination and its appearance in your physical reality. This time lag is a test of your faith and persistence. Those who can maintain their chosen state of consciousness, regardless of external circumstances, are the ones who ultimately succeed in bringing their desires into manifestation. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check its progress. You trust in the natural process of growth. You continue to water and nurture the soil, knowing that in due time the seed will sprout and grow into a plant. The same principle applies to the seeds of your desires, planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Your job is to continue nurturing these seeds through your imagination and feeling. Trust in the law, knowing that what you have planted must inevitably come to fruition. This unwavering faith, this persistent holding to your vision, is a powerful demonstration of mental strength. Now, let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of detachment. This might seem paradoxical at first. How can detachment contribute to mental strength? Isn't it important to be passionate and committed to our goals? The truth is, detachment is not about lack of desire or commitment. It's about releasing the anxiety and desperation that often accompany intense wanting. When you are overly attached to a specific outcome, you create resistance. You become tense and fearful, constantly worrying about whether or not your desire will manifest. True mental strength comes from a place of calm certainty. It's the ability to desire something deeply, to work towards it consistently, while simultaneously trusting in the perfect unfolding of events. It's knowing that whether or not a particular desire manifests, you are whole and complete as you are. This state of detachment allows you to remain centered and balanced, regardless of external circumstances. It enables you to enjoy the journey rather than fixating solely on the destination. It frees you from the emotional roller coaster of elation and despair that comes with attachment to outcomes. To cultivate this detachment, practice surrendering your desires to your higher self, to the divine within you. After you have done your part, living in the end, feeling the reality of your desire, trust that the infinite intelligence of the universe will bring about the best possible outcome, in the best possible way, at the best possible time. This surrender is not passive resignation. It is active trust. It is the recognition that while you have the power to shape your reality through your imagination and assumption, the exact manner and timing of manifestation is not always under your conscious control. This balance of active creation and surrender is a hallmark of true mental strength. Now, my dear friends, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions in service of your higher goals. It is the bridge between your intentions and your results. Many people mistakenly believe that self-discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But true self-discipline comes from a deep alignment with your highest vision for yourself. When you are clear about what you truly want, when you can feel the reality of your desire, self-discipline becomes natural and effortless. For instance, if you truly embody the state of being a successful and productive person, you will naturally engage in behaviors that support this state. You won't need to force yourself to work hard or to manage your time effectively. These behaviors will flow naturally from your assumed state of being. This is why the practice of living in the end is so powerful. By consistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, you naturally align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that state. This alignment is the essence of self-discipline. However, this doesn't mean that you won't face challenges or moments of weakness. Mental strength is not about never experiencing doubt or fear. It's about how you respond to these experiences when they arise. It's about your ability to return to your chosen state of consciousness, even after temporary lapses. This is where the practice of revision becomes invaluable. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of thought or behavior, don't berate yourself. Instead, revise the experience of your imagination. See yourself responding in a way that aligns with your highest vision for yourself. Feel the satisfaction and pride of having demonstrated self-discipline and mental strength. As you persist in this practice, you will find your capacity for self-discipline growing. You will become more consistent in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This consistency is a powerful manifestation of mental strength. Now let us explore another crucial aspect of mental strength: the power of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite social convention. It is a powerful state of consciousness that can transform your entire life experience. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you align yourself with the abundance of the universe. You shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. This shift in focus changes your entire vibration, making you a magnet for more positive experiences. But gratitude is not just about being thankful for the good things in your life. True mental strength comes from the ability to find something to be grateful for in every situation, even those that appear challenging or unpleasant on the surface. Remember, my friends, every experience, every circumstance contains within it the seed of an equivalent greater benefit. When you can maintain an attitude of gratitude, even in the face of apparent adversity, you demonstrate true mental strength. Moreover, gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you cannot simultaneously focus on what you fear. This is why the practice of gratitude is so effective in building mental resilience. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. Each day, take time to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Feel the emotion of gratitude deeply. Let it permeate your entire being. As you do this consistently, you will find your mental state becoming more positive and resilient. Now, let us discuss another vital aspect of mental strength: the power of forgiveness. Many people carry the weight of past hurts and resentments, not realizing how much these negative emotions drain their mental and emotional energy.